everyone, Kiki Kannon here with Kannon Studios, and today I wanted to make a video all about silicone. So over the years I've gotten a few questions about silicone, what applications I can use it for, how to paint it, how to work with it, and different things like that. And I just wanted to go ahead and do an introduction video on silicone. I will be doing more videos on specific things involving silicone, but I did want to start with an introduction just so you guys can decide if it's something that will work for a cosplay project or just a maker's project that maybe you had in mind. I just want you guys to just know of different materials, so this is one of my personal favorites. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the first thing that I've ever created out of silicone back in 2015. And, you know, it's not the greatest, but at the time I kind of just went in head first in making this. I didn't take any classes, I didn't really have a lot of help. It's just something I wanted to try. I'm always looking to try and learn new materials. So from my experiences, I will go ahead and give you guys the rundown of how I created that. However, this day and age, if you want something like a muscle suit or a bust suit, you can get pretty good, decent looking ones for probably a lot cheaper and a lot less of a headache than making your own. However, I still really enjoyed the experience and I like making things pretty much from scratch. I think it's a great learning experience and it's really fun. So Shime looks kind of, you know, big, over anime, over the top. So I thought it would be fun to make this and try it out. So when making this, I did a life cast where I put plaster bandages on my body and then filled that with plaster, and then I sculpted with clay, and then I did a molding process, and then I brushed the silicone in. I still have the mold actually over here, which I personally haven't probably opened up since 2015. I actually had it in my garage, stored in my attic for a very long time, and I wrapped it up there. And so I have no idea how it survived or what it looks like now. So if you guys want, we can go ahead and open this thing up. However, I should probably not keep it up there anymore as this got very dirty. So I'm going to end up being an oddly unwrapping video here, but it will give me a chance to kind of show you guys the process and maybe what the mold will look like. Hopefully there's like nothing scary in this in here. So there is some pieces that got braked and some cracks here. I don't know if I'd ever mold this again, honestly, because I feel like I could do a much better job, but I don't know. I still can't bring myself to throw it out. So I believe when I did this, that I did this shell with shell shock, which is a hard shell here, to create my mold after I sculpted it on there, and then whoops, and then I covered it in plasti paste. They since now made a plasti paste version 2, and then now they have a lot of other things to kind of make a shell that they came out with that's a little bit better than plasti paste since I've made this. But yeah, I mean, this is the bust here, and this is the back here. So it was fun to make, I suppose. It was a lot all at once going into it, but I've learned a lot in moving forward. And so to create like some of the black here, like I did, I just mixed small batches of silicone and added in silicone pigments, which are in these little tiny containers. I just got the sample pack. You don't really need a lot. Generally, if I'm adding in some type of pigment, I will take like a small toothpick or something like that and mix it in there. A little bit goes a long way. And actually, These pigments are still the same ones that I've had since 2015 when I bought a lot of the stuff. This thickener still works, actually still from 2015, so I can tell you right now that the shelf life, from my experience anyways, on the Sil pigments, pretty long, as well as for this. I got a lot of colors here, so it comes with, I don't have the little pack anymore, but it comes with all the general colors, and you can mix them together, just like painting, so mix them together to create whatever colors you need. So for the base color, I mixed this color, because silicone, the dragon skin just comes clear. It's just transparent. So I created this kind of skin pigment, and then as far as coloring this silver and gold, I actually mixed in these powders that I got. So I did the Brilliant Aluminum powder, which was mixed into the silicone to get what you see here. It's very glittery, I guess that's how I would describe it. And for the gold, I used this rich gold pigment here to get this coloring here, and then I would mix up small batches and add black to do kind of the outlining. And I did do a little bit of airbrushing here. As far as adding in how to make it wearable, I put in a zipper, and you can mix up a batch of silicone and basically use it like glue, so you can stick it onto fabrics and do zippers and all kinds of things like that. Here we have the 2019 Kolf Teroth costume, and as you can see, the blacks on this look a lot different than on the other one. I'll actually grab it to compare here. So you can see very, very different. And this is because this black was actually airbrushed on, where this was mixed and painted on. So I mixed batches of dragon skin and painted it on with a brush. However, doing the airbrush process does look nicer. However, it does require more supplies to do. So it is a little bit more expensive to actually airbrush the dragon skin than just use dragon skin and paint with the dragon skin, which I will go over. So I've already talked about these pigments here, which is what you kind of are going to be using for the airbrushing process. So when you airbrush dragon skin, you use Psycho paints, which also comes with an A and B, and you really don't need a lot. So far from my experience, the shelf life on this has been excellent. It has not gone bad, and it comes really, really thick, part A and B, much like dragon skin, kind of like a thicker goop, and you thin it out with these silicone solvents, and you can get it in a gloss or a matte. So like you saw on Shime, the chest is matte for the skin versus the armor being shiny. So you can kind of decide what you want to use depending on what you want to do. So all these pieces I obviously used gloss on because it was supposed to be pretty much like armor, and I decided to go with dragon skin because it is thinner and sleeker, and I'm not a very big person and things can get bulky very quickly. So for that, I really like the dragon skin, and it's really, really flexible and durable. So specifically for my Kolf Teroth, I have my big mold here, and I have you can use different brush and powders. Smooth On makes brush and powders, which I like a lot, and they work really, really well. I own a lot of different ones. It's like a metallic green, bronze, things like that. I usually use these as my base color. Not always, just depends on what I'm doing. But for this armor piece, some of these powders I've used. I wanted more color and more variety, so I did buy this pack of mica powder, which has a lot more colors and variety in here. However, one thing I did experience when working with this, which maybe there's better powders to try, it seems to like to stick in the mold a lot, and you get a lot of residue here. This hasn't been pulled yet. So I usually have to go in and wipe it out and clean it out really well. So I haven't really tried another powder yet that worked really well, but the Smooth On powders do not do that. So going over some of the processes with Kolteroth, I decided to create just a big flat generic mold because for the costume it looks like a bunch of armor pieces, so I wanted it to remain pretty consistent. And then I made my patterns and then I cut it out of the sheet and I just formed it to my body and just glued it with the dragon skin here. So to get these different colors and variations, I used a variety of different powders and then airbrushing that I came up with to use to create the colors that I wanted for each piece, which I do have plans to make a painting silicone video if anyone is interested, and I'm really excited to talk about that because I definitely love coloring and painting silicone. So I recently did a lot of different just tests pulling off of this mold and actually another one that I did recently to get a variety of colors to kind of show you guys different things you can get. And I really like this panel here. I've been wanting to make a Mintha costume for a long time from Zelda, and I just think this color is absolutely gorgeous. So it's something that's definitely interested me. So this one is more with the matte, airbrushing with the matte versus the gloss. Depending on like what effects or what you want to do, definitely has a totally different outcome for this piece here. And like I said, the back color of how you dye your silicone here, I just put in some yellow pigment to kind of brighten it up a bit, to really show some of those bright colors. I love this color here. I did a little bit darker airbrushing. This is basically just flat, so I just brushed in some powders, but I didn't do any airbrushing at all. So you can tell the different dimension once you really airbrush it versus something that just doesn't have any airbrushing yet. And I like the powders, depending on what I'm doing, just to kind of basically put down like a base coloring. So on my last project I wanted to talk to you guys today, I actually commissioned my friend to create a special design for me based on Devil Mercy. It's kind of our own concept that I kind of told him some things that I really wanted in the costume, and he did an amazing job putting it together so far, and I can't wait for it to be done. So I already started making some scales and designs for this costume with silicone, one of my favorite things. So here's a piece right here that only has brush in powders into it, and as you can see, it's got kind of a little bit of color to it, but then once you really add the airbrushing in there, it really makes it pop. So for this project, I'm doing a lot of molds, particularly because I want every body part to kind of be different, more like on the skin, whereas Kolteroth was kind of all the same and really glossy because it was like her armor. This is a lot more matte, and the scales are going to change depending on where it is on the body. So for this piece, I did it a bit oversized so I can cut it if I want to. It's going to go on the forearm. So I'm just going to trim it where I need to and glue it on the bodysuit. And then I'm going to have armor on the other side, so it will kind of be covered up there and still be pretty sleek and thin. So thank you guys so much for hanging out for another video. Please feel free to like the video if it helped you. And also consider subscribing for more cosplay and creating content. I also want to do a personal thanks for Cassio, who has recently donated $20 on my Twitch stream, as well as Nicholas for remaining a tier 3 sub. Also, if you want to check out Cassio, she has an amazing dice line. I'm going to go ahead and link her Instagram below, so feel free to check her out. Twitch is full of amazing, wonderful, talented creators who support each other. So if you're interested in the Twitch creative community, I would highly recommend it. I met a lot of amazing people there. You can also check out Nicholas's stream, and he also does miniature painting, so feel free to link his Twitch stream below. And here's a big thank you to all my supporters on Twitch this month. I also recently did a giveaway to all of my mods by giving them free cookies this month, as well as my supporters. Just by viewing my channel, they were able to redeem channel points for free cookies that I actually sent to their house. So please feel free to consider just hanging out, meeting some people, and getting to know the studio cats. We always have a good time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday and New Year. I will probably see you guys next year.